What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with another Shep Pettibone remix, and this is going to be the first of 3 in this batch, and there are some other ones loaded and ready to go after that, which is to say, great friend of the channel Izzy has long talked to me about Shep Pettibone, an artist and a remixer that I didn't really know until I began doing these reactions, even though I probably heard some of his influence and production skills on some major artists that I knew going back to my youth into my teenage years, including Depeche Mode. Indeed, we're going to start with one of the remixes that Shep did for Depeche Mode, which is to say a remix of their Behind the Wheel track, one of my personal favorites from Music for the Masses, 1987. And Izzy has made available a number of Shep remixes, and because I was meaning to get to this a little bit earlier, I'm going to do a triple Shep Fest or Shep-a-ganza or Shep-a-thon today. So yeah, the Shep Pettibone remix of Behind the Wheel. I like the original. It's a dark, murky sort of track, but also there's a resignation or a surrender, which I think translates to the sonics beyond just the lyrics and the theme, so I do wonder what Shep will do with it. I don't doubt that he'll make it somehow more percussive or dance floor applicable. I don't know if that's the right word, but dance floor friendly, I suppose. So either way, let's give it a listen. This is the Shep Pettibone remix of Depeche Mode's Behind the Wheel, a tune originally from their 1987 album Behind the Wheel. Or Behind the Wheel. Music for the Masses. Bass has more heft, more bite to it.
My little girl, driving away, do what you want. I don't care tonight. I'm in the hands of fate. I have myself over on a place now.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, little girl, there are times when I feel I'd rather not be the one behind the wheel. Come, pull my strings, watch me move. I'd do anything, please.
So yes, it's interesting. Like there were a lot of percussive rhythms and cycles that were layered on top of the normal parts of the track, but melodically he didn't change it too much. I feel like there's that main like heavy synth riff that he seemed to leave out entirely, which I don't mind. Again, if you're going to make something a little more danceful, or maybe you want to distinguish it from the original version of the track, and in that way, I kept wondering, like, is it going to come? Nope, it didn't come, but it did have that, like, vocal, I don't know how you describe it, that, like, like, vocal synth, like, it just sounds like someone, not so much breathing. There was a breathing part, too, and I think that was added, as well as, like, a car motor sound, so there were some, like, accompanying sounds that fit within the themes of the track, but I don't think are in the original, or if they are, they're not as prominent as they were here. But yeah, so melodically, there was that one like higher sort of like crystalline melodic run that was like one of the melodies of the original track, but in a keyboard kit that I don't think is in the original. So that stood out to me, given that it's not part of at least what I'm recalling the original to feature, but was still like a melody from the original track. But most of the additions, most of the accompaniment or fleshing out of the tune were in these little percussive cycles and tapping rhythms and clapping rhythms, and taking that explosive sound and then rapid firing it at that one point, which I really enjoyed. And then definitely taking the bass line and giving it some depth, some weight, some additional bite. So yeah, from the very moment it started, percussively, and especially in terms of the bass line, it stood out as distinct, even if the regular parts and the melodic parts of the tune were more or less in line with the original, with one notable omission, it felt like. So yeah, a cool tune. It wasn't like as long. Yeah, like about 5.5, less than 6 anyway. So I feel like sometimes the remixes from 80s tunes, they'll go like 7.5, 8 minutes. So this one was like shorter than I expected, but not really short per se. It's still like almost a 6-minute tune is by no means short, and definitely longer than like a single cut of a track from the 80s. although I say that, I feel like the tracks on Madonna's first couple albums were all like surprisingly long. It was like, wait, this is just like a regular album version? It's like 7 minutes long. Nevertheless, and I only bring that up because I know Shep worked with Madonna, but in any case, the point is, it's not as long as some like 12-inch mix or its extended mixes that I've heard, but I think it very much gets the job done and definitely feels a bit more club dance floor than the regular tune, even if a lot of Depeche Mode tracks do have that electronic sound that I think would likely have featured in a lot of 80s club dance floors. I say that, I was around, I was already listening to Depeche Mode by 87 very enthusiastically, but I was like 6/7 years old, so like, that wasn't my world. It was a world that my older sister inhabited, and that's again how I initially discovered Depeche Mode, was through her and my mom listening to like British synth pop on the radio and eventually cassette tapes and so on, and that's how I found Depeche Mode. But yeah, it sounds like a lot of Depeche Mode tracks would very much have featured in that environment, and yet this takes it to another level in terms of the dance sonic. So yeah, a cool opener. Again, there's already a large Shep Pettibone playlist, and in that regard, I've talked to Izzy a couple times. He mentioned there were a couple Shep remixes that I left out because maybe I didn't write Shep Pettibone in the titles of those earlier reactions. Like, basically when I created the Shep Pettibone playlist, it was recently because I kind of knew this project was coming, or this extension of his work was coming, but I only searched in YouTube Studio for tracks that I had written in the title of the video, Shep Pettibone. So if you could give me a little hint, Izzy, in one of the comments here, which ones I'm missing, just so make it a little easier for me to add them to the playlist and, sort of put them in the right order. And as I said, this is the first of 3 in this batch, so if you enjoyed this, come back for the next 2. I will say one of the ones I'm not going to do tonight, but I'm looking very much forward to, is his remix of Erasure's Chains of Love. I'm a big fan of that tune, so keen to hear what Shep does with it. But 2 more before we get to that. Let me know what you think of this, and I'll see you in a few. Peace.